The group of survivors stood in the clearing, or struck at the site before them. The old rocket, rusted and corroded, yet still standing tall in the overgrown grass. It had been abandoned for many years, yet somehow was still standing. The survivors had arrived here after a long journey, searching for a way to escape the post-apocalyptic world they were living in. They had heard rumors of a fallout vault on the moon, and this rocket was the only way to get there. The survivors had been able to find documents detailing the rocket and its destination, and had been able to recover the necessary parts and materials to rebuild it. It had taken months of hard work, but they had finally done it. The group of survivors was a mix of all kinds of people, from a scientist to a mechanic, a doctor to a soldier. They had all come together with the same goal in mind, to survive. The survivors had already made it through a lot since the apocalypse, and they were determined to make it through this as well. They began to board the rocket, each one of them silently praying that it would be the one thing that would save them. The rocket launched, and the survivors were off. As they reached the moon, they saw the vault. It was a large metal structure, with a door that seemed to be sealed shut. The survivors had no way of opening it, but they knew it was their only chance. They worked together, using their collective knowledge and skills, to find a way to open the door. After hours of hard work, the door finally opened. The survivors had no idea what to expect when they stepped inside the vault, but they were hopeful that it would contain the technology they needed to survive. The vault was filled with a variety of advanced technology, from weapons and armor to more advanced items like computers and robots. The survivors were ecstatic, and quickly began to scavenge the vault for anything they could use. They also discovered a supply of food and water, allowing them to survive for a time while they worked out a plan. The survivors decided to use the technology they had found to build a new rocket, one capable of traveling back to Earth. They worked together, using their collective knowledge and skills to build a powerful new rocket. Finally, after months of hard work, the rocket was complete. The survivors were ready to go home. They climbed aboard the rocket, and the journey began. As they left the moon and returned to Earth, the survivors felt a wave of relief wash over them. They had survived the apocalypse, and now they were going home. The survivors had accomplished something no one thought was possible. They had built a rocket and traveled to the moon, and returned with the technology they needed to rebuild a better society. The survivors had no idea what the future held for them, but they knew one thing: they would never give up. They had survived the apocalypse, and they were determined to make the world a better place.